We are superstitious creatures. We think that if we talk about the darkness, we invite it in. We think that if we mention death, death will hear its name and come knocking at our door. So we stay silent. We talk about the weather. We talk about the grocery list. We talk about our retirement plans for Florida or Arizona. We talk about everything except the one thing that is guaranteed to happen. I was that wife. I was the woman who would shush my husband if he ever brought up the end. I would say, "Oh, stop it, don't be morbid," or, "We have plenty of time to worry about that later." I treated the conversation about death like it was a bad omen. I thought I was protecting our happiness. I thought I was keeping the mood light. I didn't realize that by refusing to have this conversation, I was building a prison for my future self. I am a widow now, and I'm telling you, with a heart that is heavy but open, that the silence you keep today will become the screaming chaos you inherit tomorrow. There is a critical conversation that every couple avoids until it is too late. And when you are standing in a hospital hallway, or sitting in a lawyer's office, or lying alone in a bed that is too big for one person, you will realize that this conversation was not morbid. It was an act of love. And you missed your chance to have it. This is the script of what I wish I had asked. This is the conversation you need to have tonight. It starts with a simple Sunday morning. I remember it clearly. My husband was reading the paper. He was old school like that, and he looked up and said, "You know, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to sell the truck." I laughed. I was pouring coffee and I laughed. I said, "Nothing is going to happen to you. You're healthy as a horse. Drink your coffee." He tried to speak. He tried to open the door, and I slammed it shut. 6 months later, he was gone. And there I was, with a truck I didn't know how to drive, a title I couldn't find, and a deep, gnawing guilt that I had silenced him when he wanted to protect me. But the truck was the least of my problems. The critical conversation is not just about assets. It is about 3 specific pillars: the logistics, the medical, and the emotional permission. Let's talk about the logistics first. This is the part that seems boring, but it is the part that will bring you to your knees when grief has already knocked you down. When my husband died, the world didn't stop. The world doesn't care that your heart is broken. The electric company still wants to be paid. The mortgage is still due on the 1st. The IRS still expects a tax return. I thought I knew our life, but I realized very quickly that I only knew my half of our life. I didn't know the password to his email. Do you know how many bills are sent only by email these days? I didn't know the unlock code to his phone. His phone was full of photos, full of memories, full of contacts for people I needed to notify. And it was a black brick, a locked vault. I had to hire an expert just to get into my own husband's phone to tell his friends he had died. Every married couple needs to have the master key conversation. You need to sit down, not with sadness, but with practical love, and write it down. Where is the life insurance policy? Not just we have one, but where is the physical piece of paper? What is the agent's name? What are the bank account passwords? What are the PIN codes? It sounds cold to talk about passwords when you are in love, but let me tell you, there is nothing romantic about spending 3 hours on hold with a bank, crying your eyes out, trying to prove that you are the wife, just because you didn't have the right code. That is not romance. That is torture. Then there is the medical conversation. This is the one that haunts me the most. We think we know what our partner wants. We watch medical dramas on TV, and we say, "Oh, I'd never want to live like that." But saying it at the dinner table while eating lasagna is very different from having it written down in a legal document. There was a moment in the ICU. The machines were beeping, that rhythm that becomes the soundtrack of your nightmares. The doctor looked at me. He was a kind man, but he was tired. He asked me a question about intubation. He asked me about quality of life versus quantity of life. And I froze. I looked at my husband's face, unconscious, peaceful, and I realized I didn't actually know. We had joked about it, but we had never decided it. The weight of that decision crushed me. I had to make a choice based on a guess. And to this day, late at night, I wonder, did I do what he wanted, or did I do what I needed? You do not want to live with that doubt. You need to look your spouse in the eye and ask, if you cannot speak for yourself, what do you want me to say? And you need to listen. You need to write it down. You need to make it legal. It is the greatest gift you can give your partner, the gift of a guilt-free decision. When the time comes, you can say to the doctors, I am doing exactly what he asked. It takes the burden off your shoulders. But the hardest part of the critical conversation is the third part. It is the emotional permission. This is the part we avoid because it hurts too much. It forces us to imagine a world where we do not exist. My husband and I never talked about what my life would look like without him. We were so focused on us, we never discussed me. After the funeral, after the casseroles were eaten and the flowers died, the silence set in. And in that silence, I felt like I was cheating on him just by being alive. I felt guilty for laughing at a TV show. I felt guilty for buying a new dress. I felt guilty for wanting to go on a trip. I felt like my life was supposed to end when his did. I wish, more than anything, that we had the conversation where he gave me permission to live. I wish he had looked at me and said, Honey, if I go first, I want you to be happy. I want you to travel. I want you to sell this big house if it's too much work. I want you to find love again if that's what your heart needs. Imagine how healing that would be, to hear his voice in my head saying, It's okay, go live. But because we never said it, I had to guess. I had to fight my own guilt. I had to forgive myself for surviving. There are widows watching this who are wearing black for 10 years because they think it's what their husband would have wanted. There are women sitting in houses that are falling apart because they are afraid to sell his home. They are trapped in a shrine to the past because they never got permission to build a future. You need to sit with your husband tonight. You need to hold his hand, and you need to say, I love you more than anything, and because I love you, I need to know, what do you want for me if you aren't here? And you need to tell him what you want for him. I told my husband once in passing, if I die, promise me you won't marry that woman from down the street. We laughed. It was a joke. But it wasn't a joke. It was insecurity masked as humor. We need to be brave enough to say, I want you to mourn me, but I do not want you to die with me. I want you to keep going. This conversation is critical because grief is a fog. When you are grieving, your brain does not work properly. You forget things. You get confused. You panic. Having this conversation now while you are lucid, while you are calm, while you are happy, creates a roadmap for the person who is left behind. It is a map through the hell of grief. I didn't have a map. I was lost in the woods in the dark. I stumbled over every root and fell into every hole. I fought with his family because we had different ideas of what he wanted for his funeral. He told his sister one thing 20 years ago, and he told me nothing. So we fought, over his ashes, over his music, over his legacy. It tore the family apart. A conversation could have saved us. A simple piece of paper saying, "Here is what I want," would have been the final word. Instead, his death became a battleground. Please, do not leave a legacy of confusion. Do not leave a legacy of conflict. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, "I'll do this next week." You are thinking, "We are young. We are in our 40s. We are in our 50s. We have time." The calendar is a liar. The clock is a thief. I remember the last normal day we had. It was a Tuesday. He complained about his coffee being cold. I complained about the dog tracking mud in. It was so normal. It was so boring. 11 hours later, I was in an ambulance. There is no next week. There is only the messy, beautiful now. I want you to make a go box. That is your homework from this widow. Get a plastic file box. Put the life insurance in it. Put the deed to the house. Put a list of passwords. Put a letter. Yes, write a letter. If I could have just one thing, just one, it wouldn't be the life insurance money. It wouldn't be the house. It would be a letter in his handwriting found in a box that said, "My dearest, I love you. Thank you for the life we built. Here is what I hope for you." I search the house sometimes. I look in old books. I look in jacket pockets. I am looking for a note that doesn't exist. I am looking for a final goodbye that was never spoken. Don't let your spouse search for a ghost. Leave the note. Have the talk. It will be awkward. You might cry. He might get uncomfortable and try to change the subject to sports or the weather. Do not let him. Press through the awkwardness. Say, "I know this is hard, but I need this. I need this for my peace of mind." Because here is the truth. The pain of this conversation lasts for an hour. The pain of not having this conversation lasts for a lifetime. I am a widow. I am the woman who learned the hard way. I am the woman walking alone. And I am telling you, the greatest act of romance is not a diamond ring. It is not a surprise vacation. The greatest act of romance is preparing your partner to survive without you. It is the ultimate protection. It says, "I love you so much that I want you to be okay, even if I'm not there to see it." So turn off this video, go to the kitchen, pour 2 cups of coffee, sit down, and say, "We need to talk, not because we are dying, but because we are living, and I want to make sure we take care of each other, no matter what." Do it for your future self. Do it for the peace of mind. Do it so that when the silence comes, and it will come, you will not be left with questions. You will be left with answers and with love. Don't wait until it is too late, because too late is a very lonely place to be.